So, teach, обучать, yes. Learn, изучать, Spanish, испанский, yes. Okay, are you teaching me English? Are you teaching me English?
No, I'm not teaching you English, but
I'm learning
learning
English from you. Okay, do you learn Spanish? No, I don't learn Spanish, but I learn English. Do you learn Spanish? Do you learn Spanish?
But no, I
don't learn Spanish, but I learn
English.
Okay, do you like learning a language? Yes, I like learning a language. No, I don't like learning a language. Do you like learning a language? No, I don't like learning a language. Okay, we have new words. The word easy. You know what is easy?
Easy.
Легкий. And difficult is трудный, сложный. Grammar, грамматика. Yes, repeat please. Easy.
Easy, легкий.
Repeat. Easy, difficult.
Сложный.
Difficult. And grammar. Grammar, grammatica, yes. Okay, is English grammar difficult? No, English grammar isn't difficult, but it's easy. No, English grammar isn't difficult, but it's easy. Is English grammar difficult? Is English grammar difficult?
No,
English
grammar
isn't difficult, but it's easy. Okay, is Chinese an easy language to learn? No, Chinese isn't an easy language to learn, but it's a difficult language to learn.
Да.
Yes?
Да.
No, Chinese isn't an easy language to learn, but it's a difficult language to learn. Is Chinese an easy language to learn? Is Chinese an easy language to learn?
No,
Chinese isn't an easy language to learn, but it's a difficult language to learn. Is it difficult for you to speak your language? No, it isn't difficult for me to speak my language, but it's easy, yes? Is it difficult for you to speak your language? Is it difficult? Сложно. For you to speak your language?
No.
To speak Russian? No, it isn't difficult for me. Listen to me. No, it isn't.
But it's easy.
To speak my language, yes? Once again, no, it isn't difficult for me.
No, it isn't difficult for me, but
to speak my language, but it's
easy.
It's easy, yes. Okay, is it generally easy for people to write with their left hands? No, it isn't generally easy for people to write with their left hands, but it's difficult, yes? No, it isn't generally easy for people to write with their left hands, but it's difficult. Is it generally easy for people to write with their left hands? No, it isn't generally easy for people to write with their left hands, but it's difficult. Okay, we have the new words, the word hand and map. You know the word map? Map. So we don't have pictures, yes. So map, карта, hand, висеть. So what's my pen doing? Your pen is hanging between your finger and your thumb. So your pen is hanging between your finger and your thumb, yes? What's my pen doing? What's my pen doing? Your pen's hanging between your finger and your thumb. Not thumb, yes? Okay, what's hanging from the ceiling? The lights hanging from the ceiling, yes? What's hanging from the ceiling? What's hanging from the ceiling?
The lights
hanging from the ceiling, okay. So here we have a picture, yes? A picture. So is there a picture hanging on that wall? No, there isn't a picture hanging on that wall, but there is a map, карта, but there is a map hanging on that wall. Is there a picture hanging on that wall? Is there a picture hanging on that wall? No, there isn't a picture hanging on that wall, but there is a map hanging on that wall. Okay, do you go to school by bus, by car, or do you walk to school? I go to school by car, for example, yes, or I walk to school. I don't know. So do you go to school by bus, by car, or do you walk to school?
I go
to school by car. By car. Okay. So is Mr. Brown single? You know what single? Single and married. So we have new words. So Mr. Brown is married. So he has a wife, yes? This is a family. And Mr. Brown is not single, he is married. Yes? And Mrs. Brown is married, yes? And she has a husband, and Mr. Brown has a wife, yes? Понятно что-нибудь или непонятно? Married means женат, yes, and single не женат. Okay, is Mr. Brown single? Is Mr. Brown single?
Женат.
Single. Married and single. Married means женат, yes. Single means не женат, yes. Is Mr. Brown single? No, Mr. Brown isn't single, but he's married. Are you married? No, I'm not married, but I am single. Has Mr. Brown a wife? Yes, Mr. Brown has a wife. Yes, has Mr. Brown a wife? Yes, Mr. Brown has a wife. Has Mrs. Brown a husband? Has Mrs. Brown a husband? Yes, Mrs. Brown has a husband. Is Mrs. Brown's husband standing behind the house? No, Mrs. Brown's husband isn't standing behind the house, but he's standing in front of the house, yes? Mrs. Brown's husband isn't standing behind the house, but he's standing in front of the house, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Is Mrs. Brown's husband standing behind the house?
No,
Mrs. Brown's husband isn't standing behind the house, but he's standing in front of the house. Good. So what's your mother's name? What's your mother's name?
My mother's name is Lydia.
Okay. What's your father's name?
My father's name is Losha.
Okay, what's your father's wife's name? What's your father's wife's name? My father's wife's name is Lydia. What's your mother's husband's name? My mother's husband's name is Losha. Okay, we have new words, the word child and children. You know these words, yes? So what's the plural of child? The plural.
Teacher.
Yes, the plural. You remember the plural. The plural of child is children. Yes, once again, the plural.
The plural
of child is children. Okay, how many children have your mother and father? My mother and father have two.
My mother and
father have two children. Are you your father's only child? No, I'm not my father's only child, but my father has two children, yes? Are you your father's only child? Are you your father's only child? No, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
My father's only child, but my father has two children. Okay, now we have new words. The word one and the other. Один, другой. If we have only two. Yes? So, are both my hands on the book? No, both your hands aren't on the book, but one's on the book and the other's on your arm. Yes? One, the other, yeah? No, both your hands aren't on the book, but one's on the book and the other's on your arm. Are both my hands on the book? Are both my hands on the book? No, both your hands are on the book, but one's on the book and the other's on your arm. Okay, are both my hands open? Are both my hands